Welcome back to an issue. I'm Beastie Boy,
I'm Table.
I'm Red.
And it is I, Shino Brando.
and as most of you know, everyone is stuck inside these days, and we're here to give our suggestions of media to keep you busy. We'll be discussing media regarding anime and TV series, comics for reading, and games to play to keep yourself and friends occupied. With the first topic we'll discuss is going to be anime.
Anime or TV in general, I'm supposing. I mean, it's all one category altogether, right?
Yeah.
Things to watch.
Things to watch.
Experiences to lead that are not outside.
There.
Jeez. That's correct. So, social distancing, guys. That's what we need. But
Live vicariously.
Exactly. Not gonna lie, I just realized that this list is mostly anime, so
that's totally fine. It's your list.
How about tell us more about your list there, buddy.
Go right ahead.
All right, so for this list, I put in like different ones that are ongoing, or if anything, ones that are like simple, easy starters to find on either Netflix or Crunchyroll.
Right on.
So the first one I am going to mention, and as you other guys know, is going to be JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
But of course.
Yes.
Had to be.
Yes. So with that, it's obviously for people that don't understand what that is. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a very
Bizarre Adventure, exactly what it's called.
Exactly. So each chapter or part, you'll meet a new JoJo. So basically, it breaks down into different generations, and it'll be a new story that you can see from their point of view that the creator himself, Araki, has made. And it's different like powers or dramas, and then you'll kind of see how everything is made, while with good music and as well good art designs is put into it as well.
So fun fact: the series always builds on the era of time that it's around. So a lot of things translate to different decades as the story goes on. So it's key to watch everything from beginning right to end.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say my favorite thing it does is just randomly change the color palette, because that's fun.
That's always fun. It's an acid trip that everybody wants to take.
So in season 7, that's when we introduced JoJo Sawa, right?
I am going to throw you under a bridge.
I just got what you meant, because I was like, Sawa? I was like, that's not one of them. I was like,
right? They're a JoJo, right? When are they introduced?
That's no. That's a wrong JoJo, and that's a wrong JoJo.
You just enjoy hurting people.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so next one. So the first one, JoJo, is on Netflix, which you can watch, or you can watch it on Crunchyroll, available on other sites, depending if you have a subscription or just obviously for whatever media you have. One Punch Man is my second choice. Which
I also have
very nice.
Yes. Punch Man is easily, so season 1 is easily on Netflix. Yep. It's simple and easy to watch, and it's very intriguing from the main character, and then even some of the side characters that are kind of just around the main character itself. So
a true parody on all the genres, or like on all the other shows that we're probably going to mention.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's such it's not even about punching monsters anymore like other anime. It's very much like how we're dealing with, I woke up today, I went to work, I went to bed, I got up, I went to work, I went to bed, like how we deal with repetition and strife in a world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That also happens to involve monsters that need punching every now and then.
And explode really well.
Yes.
Exactly.
In glorious pulpy fashion.
Oh, man. Okay, so going on to the next one, it'll be My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia, which is basically...
Boku no Pico, yeah. Just got it.
Stop that. We don't bring that name around here.
Do not Google Poco no Pico if you value your eyeballs.
Or your search history.
Academia is going to be in the same sense of like One Punch Man being a hero type anime, but it is a bit more teen oriented and more kind of serious. Teen or young adult oriented. So
I just dipped my virgin toe into that pool, and I'm enjoying the swim right now. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
As a person who's been following the manga vicariously, it's a good time.
All right, I will take your word for it because I trust your word. So I'm sure I'm enjoying everything I'm seeing so far.
Probably a mistake.
Nothing's been boring. So I'm liking what I see.
I'm from the manga from what I'm seeing currently that I've been like spoiling for myself in a manga. Video wise, like I've seen some pretty interesting fights for this current arc that's happening there.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, this is like, if this is what's going on with him now, I gotta like catch up from this recent season. So I guess season 4 just finished, and there'll be season 5 that'll be getting animated or worked on. Right. But from that point in the manga current going on, a lot of things happen obviously for the characters, so you can just kind of see obviously more development of the heroes and what's going on around them, which I'm going to be interested in reading up on.
I've only watched half of season 1, and it's really good, but I find my attention span a little all over the place.
Where have you got lost or stopped?
I got lost. Well, it wasn't really that the show got lost on me, it stopped grabbing my attention. It's just that my attention span was just like, ooh, and what's that shiny thing?
Oh.
Yeah. The show is full of shiny things.
I got to they were doing battle training.
Right.
Everybody's got the costumes they have in all the posters and all the things. They've
the first battle training with the go find the bomb thing.
Yeah. Or no, when they were fighting each other, right? The one's on one's level, one's on the other level, and they got to fight each other.
Yeah, that's what she was referring to. So that is that. Yeah, so it'll be the teamwork training part, which will be
and I think I just got introduced to Todoroki.
Todoroki's the man. That's my boy.
Or as somebody pointed out when we were talking about this, just off stream, Emo Sasuke. No,
I find he's more Gaara.
Yeah, you know what? Yes.
That's a better analogy, yeah.
Yeah.
I find he's more Gaara.
And then what is it? Bakugo would be, but it's oh my god. Oh, geez, that hurt. I'd be anime fan.
I mean, Todoroki's parents don't love him.
I mean,
his mom loves him. She just has problems.
Yeah.
I mean, she loves him enough to boil his face a little bit.
She has problems.
Yeah, we know.
She loved him enough to not swallow.
That?
Red. How dare you?
Oh my God.
She was, as I'm gathering from what I'm watching, she was kind of forced into marriage with Endeavor, and I don't think the experience was a willing experience, if you catch my drift. So
nah, she didn't sign up for this.
No. In a sense, I think it was from what I remember hearing, if not, I'm just going iffy about from what I was seeing. In a sense, it's the marriage was gonna be okay. At first it seemed okay, but at the same time, Endeavor did kind of get with her, and I was hey, we're gonna breed our own children.
Endeavor's a dick.
Child.
He is,
but he went for eugenics.
Dick. Yes.
Yeah.
He's a super dick, but he has such an awesome name, the fucker.
Yeah. Endeavor.
And it's so good.
And he was DLC in one of the fighting games.
It's almost as good as All Might. All Might's such a better name. In the very fact that it's his job description.
I mean, they are pretty badass in the anime throughout. So.
Oh yeah.
I understand. And then my other one. So going off from that series, my other mention would be Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Hey, that's another goodie.
Baby.
If people haven't seen that yet, then they have been living under a very, very remote rock.
There's a lot of people that haven't seen it. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's one of those that you have to be in the loop to know Full Metal Alchemist. There's a lot of people, even from my old, from my old prehistoric days when the first series came out. That
humans walked the earth,
As people began putting pencil to paper.
Exactly. They missed it then. So it's kind of, it's one of those. If it hasn't been promoted hardcore, you're not going to know about it unless you're just an anime boy, Weebo girl or boy, you know what I mean?
And make sure you actually watch Brotherhood and not the one that's just Full Metal Alchemist.
Well, the 03 is okay in its own right. It's a decent story in its own right, but it's different. It's definitely different. And Brotherhood has it's true to the manga for one. Yeah, so it's the author's original intention for these characters.
Yeah.
And it just ends in a warmer place.
And I find that the pacing in Brotherhood is just always kept my attention. I probably binged through 30 episodes consistently. It just always had me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it is one of those shows.
No, the thing is too with Brotherhood, so from watching the first series of the Full Metal Alchemist, and then when they revamped it and remade it with Brotherhood into the manga more a focused storyline, seeing the different, I guess you could say, color differences or palettes, and then the different story changes, because like I straight up was watching Brotherhood. I literally saw like a certain part of the story, and I was like, wait, this person wasn't here. Who's this person? And I got so confused because I was going off of the original one.
803, you can literally tell when they ran out of manga and just started making things up.
Started doing their own thing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So yeah, like when they added in more, I was like, oh, you're here. Who's this person? Who are you? And then like, yeah. So Brotherhood is very like, even though it is different from what the original make of it was, like it still does it very good and in a very like beautiful and artistic way too, which is the cool thing.
Right
so, but the other, I'll just put in some honorable mentions, which would be Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, which are technically actually both on Netflix. If you have Crunchyroll, you can catch them obviously easily on that site as well. And then you can have the full, like, obviously series breakdown of that, or if any of the movies. And one on Netflix is Cannon Busters. So that one is kind of like Cowboy Bebop meets slightly mecha type of series.
Whoa,
not even that far. It's like there's
pause.
What? Yes.
You just said two things that are right up my alleyway. Okay.
You reached
Cowboy
his alley and
Bebop,
grabbed him by it.
right? Yeah, Cowboy Bebop and mecha.
Well, that's what it's been
referred.
That's what it's been referred to from what I've been hearing. So,
if it had ninjas, the trifecta would have been perfect for me. But
well,
go on.
Mecha ninjas?
Mecha ninjas.
Mecha ninjas. No, there's Mecha warriors. I don't know. I say Mecha just because, like, in a sense, that's what some of these characters are.
You know what? I wouldn't lie to you because I've seen the trailer for it on Netflix. Right, it's on my watch. It's on my watch list for sure. I haven't started yet, but it's as soon as I saw the art style and like the, I guess, aesthetic look and appeal of it, right? Like the treatment of it, I was immediately hooked because that's the kind of shit I'm into already.
Yeah, and like the thing is too, like, just going off my IGN quoting, like when they had mentioned it, like with that description, I was like, this does make sense because like I haven't watched Cowboy Bebop, but that is on my watch list.
Right.
But
you should watch it. I'm an old schooler who's I've gone through that series 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
I to this day, I struggle with the ending. I can't. I'm one of those people who can't accept it. But it's too bad I have to. But I'm in total denial. It's one of those kind of endings. I'm in total denial.
Yeah.
You're a comics fan. You must be familiar with rewriting your own canon. Come on.
Yeah, I know, but that, Cowboy Bebop it's one of those that's never been touched again, and I hate that it's never going to be touched again because I hate the ending.
Damn.
I hate it. It hurts. But it's totally a great ending to that whole run. It's poetic, man. That's
I think
the best
my
part
favorite thing about that show is not only that I have found people that just to bother people that are like so ingrained with the series that they call it Cowboy Bebop, but also like I think my favorite character on that show is Ein.
I'm the dog. It's chess playing dog.
It's so cute. I think that was like a
super smart
people's introduction to like the internet's like fascination with corgis.
Yeah, he is one of the main factors that started it all, for sure. Mine's really really popular. He's such a smart dog, little asshole.
The OG good boy.
So cute.
Yeah, he is. He routinely beats Jet at chess. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's my mention of the anime list. We'll go to table for the next I guess mentions or list.
So I just pulled basically things on Netflix I enjoyed. A couple of them were movies, so bear with me on this.
Go ahead.
First of all, the Castlevania anime. Beautiful,
Excellent
bloody,
choice.
Interesting.
Excellent.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Periodically, I really want to hit characters because there's a lot of stupid people in that show. Or just nasty ones. But I love the art style. We accept
nasty in these part of town, though.
Exactly. And it's a vampire show that the vampires are explicitly awful. Great.
Fun fact about that whole show too is I think the guy who got the rights to actually get that animated is currently working on getting the rights for Devil May Cry. So that's something
I would die.
And the director is comics writer Warren Ellis, and that you just can't go wrong.
Yeah,
right?
So there's some things in the works, and I think because I think Castlevania now is open, public domain. Pretty much, Konami gave that up, right? So you can do whatever you freely want with that whole mythos lore if you want. And he may cross Belmont over with Son of Sparta. So
that's That's the first one. Next up is a comedy movie that I very much enjoy because I like dry humor. It's
Right on.
Hot Fuzz, and also
Nice.
Hot Fuzz is one of my favorites.
it's super relevant these days because
Yep.
the Untitled Goose Game.
Jeez.
Just the worst animal to go awry in your village.
Nobody fucks with Canadian gooses.
Yeah,
Oh, they're the worst.
Oh no! Like,
A law unto themselves.
That's a Little Kitty reference. God damn it!
They were the original drinkers of White Claws because there are no laws.
So it's just a good feel-good movie to check in with and enjoy.
Mhm.
Super chill.
Agreed.
Next up, Justice League Dark. It's
Ooh.
a classic, first of all. It's also just a fun cast, a cool story, and a great step into the DC animated universe where you don't have to know the rest of the animated universe to
You don't
get what's
have
up.
to.
Mhm.
That's right.
And
So
the
agreed upon.
Constantine is the one that's in Legends of Tomorrow. It's all the same Constantine.
Yeah, it's Matt
And
Ryan as well. Yeah,
Oh my god, that dude just blows it away every time he opens his mouth.
he is. He
Kills the
totally
role.
he's one of those guys born for that role. He's totally made for it.
Sorry, Keanu Reeves.
Randy, sorry, Keanu, we still love you though, man.
But he has the roles and he's still great in those ones. So
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
of course.
He's still
Yeah, of
beautiful.
course.
We love
no,
him and
you're
his-
beautiful. Or no, you're breathtaking. That's what it was. Oh,
That's another
man.
fun movie to just check out.
Mhm.
Then a horror recommendation because horror is a sweet, sweet genre to me, but
Okay.
it's hard to watch in this like present environment by yourself, trapped in your home. So I'm
Okay.
recommending As Above, So Below because
One of my
that takes,
favorites.
that
Hey,
takes place in the Paris catacombs and it can't hurt you here.
You know what, lady? You're hitting my everything on my list, man. I won't even joke with you. That's one of my favorites. Also one of my wife's favorites as well. We discovered that movie out of nowhere, and we watch that almost, I think, once a year.
Its tension is perfect. Its pacing
Yeah,
is
it is.
fantastic. There's
It is.
one jump scare in the entire movie, and the
Yeah.
rest of it is just you're spooked and
Oh,
you're on
man.
edge and you're uncomfortable. It's incredible.
It's so much to take in because once they start going in that loop, that's when shit
It
goes
spirals
sketchy.
out of control.
Yeah, it just gets worse, man.
Like bundle up and like hide in your couch if you have to watch it, but it's so worth getting through.
Man, another fun fact on that movie, that was inspired by Dante's Inferno.
Completely believe that, yeah. So my last recommendation, also a movie because you see where I went with this. Baby Driver. Great soundtrack, super boppin'.
Yeah.
And it's rewatchable as all get out. Every fight scene to the soundtrack, ooh, just watch those beats. Watch that action.
So you see now, Bobby Shino, back in the day, always wanted a movie that would base itself around a soundtrack, and nothing ever happened. Like Tron Legacy was kind of there, but it wasn't what I was looking for. And then Baby
And then the
Driver
other Tron
happened.
came out and ruined it.
Right, and that's what I mean. Tron Legacy was the other one. That was no good, but that was.
It's a beautiful exploration of a soundtrack.
Yeah, that was great. Perfect.
I am so tempted to buy like that. Soundtrack is not only available on cassette, on CD, on vinyl. I just want to own every part of it and just like hold it against myself because it's so good.
It's pretty great, man.
And it'll leave you in a great mood for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I think
so. Those are my 5.
I think that makes it my turn.
All right.
Go right ahead.
While we're in the realm of live action, I would be absolutely remiss if I don't mention Russian Doll.
Russian Doll.
Oh,
On Netflix.
Russian
correct?
Doll on Netflix is
Right on.
one of those, like, I love like pocket episodes. This
Right.
whole series is one pocket episode all tied together. It is, I think there's an episode of Star Trek where it solely exists on the brig,
Right.
and then they wake up and then they're still on the brig, and then they wake up and they're still on the brig, and it's just this weird time loop that they can't figure out how to get out of.
Right.
Those kind of stories tickle me in the back of my brain, and I can't stop thinking about it.
All right.
So
all
if
right.
you when you take the talent from Orange is the New Black and put it in one of those stories, and give it a real world script with swearing and casual casual drug intake, like give it a real
life.
script.
Found it.
It's such a trip to watch.
Right on.
Now we're gonna dive into some animated content again.
Go
We
ahead.
love that animus.
But of course,
This slot is really for a certain subset of our listeners. If you enjoyed Zootopia, and you were hoping that, you know, in part of your brain they would make an HBO adaptation,
okay.
here it is, Beastars.
Keep your
I've
furry bait to yourself.
I was going to say the same because I've seen this for bait on Netflix, and I want to know what is this? Go on.
So it is, like I say, you know what, referring to it as like the HBO Zootopia
Okay.
is a really great starting place, because it looks at like class, and it looks at like primal instincts, both adult kinds and not adult kinds.
Almost like a Wolf Among Us.
Almost like The Wolf Among Us, except for with the added addition of the voice of Kyrie from Digimon Adventure, voicing the main bunny character,
Okay.
and saying things that if Kyrie heard, she would run the other way.
Listen,
Laura
man,
Jill Miller hasn't voice acted since voice acting Kyrie from Digimon Adventure. And
yeah,
I'm very happy to stand her in this role.
we all got to grow up sometime, right? Right. So,
While I'm on a Digimon thought process, they just rebooted that. It's on Crunchyroll right now. It only gets a side mention because only one episode is out, and I don't know when episode 2 drops.
But it's
It
there.
squashes my main irk about the original Adventure series, and that is the reuse of like footage. So when they first digivolve, there's no digivolution sequence.
Okay.
Agumon just turns into Greymon like it looks natural, like as if you're watching like an evolutionary video in front of you, and he glows big orange, and he hits the enemy as hard as he can.
Okay.
And you see that bond develop with them. You do not get introduced to all 7 Digidestin all in one go. You get introduced to Tai and Izzy and Koromon, and that's it.
Okay.
My last one in this in my list is Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
This is a really nice shonen anime that takes deep dives into battle strategy and heavy themes, but covers it all in a nice, like, maple syrupy, cheery surface coating. And that's my list.
Right on. Okay, perfect. I guess it comes down to me now. As you know, I am old, so I watch a lot of things over my years.
We heard, yeah.
Right. So some of the greater things I've come across. Feel good show, man. If you're into comics, and I'm sure a lot of you listeners are going to be into comics, give it a go ahead, man. On Amazon, you can catch Smallville. I mean, here and there you can have.
Smallville's a good pull.
Yeah, you know,
that
you're
is
gonna have
a good one.
Thank you. You're gonna have some cheesy moments here and there, but I mean, it's pre-CW, but it was the CW before the CW was the CW. It's one of the rare shows where I've walked away feeling good from that show. Tom Welling and that whole cast, especially Tom Welling as Clark Kent, was probably the best feel good of all that show. And that guy, he played a really good boy the entire time, man. For me, he is one of the essential guys who, if you're slapping into that, you know, red, blue, and yellow suit, I'd believe it. He just looks the part.
I like how it took them so long to put him in a suit that they were more willing to explore the Clark Kent side of the human side of him than they were like, oh, this dude shoots lasers and he breathes ice and he flies.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's exactly, and that's
infinitely more interesting than Superman.
Very much so, and that's why his cameo in Crisis hit me right, you know, right in the chest, man. Because I was happy to see him again. It was really good to see just Tom Welling in that role, man.
Everything you said was just true and right, but I also need to just add that I was traumatized by the vampire episode of Smallville when I was like 8 at 3 a.m. And it took me a long time to go back to that show.
That one, that was with the college fraternity, the girls there. Yeah. That, you know, it was a nice cheesy Halloween episode, but it was still a fun ride. You know, every one of them was a fun ride. That's all I can say to that show. Right. Next choice. I stumbled upon this with the wife as well. I just kind of put on the list because I like kung fu all over.
Everybody was kung fu fighting, in fact.
I love it, man. And this show, exactly, that's it, Red. Everybody in this show was friggin' kung fu fighting. Watch Into the Badlands. If you haven't caught it, watch it.
Yes, that is a very good one, honestly, because I caught that randomly because I remember like AMC obviously like is where they were hosting it a lot too. When they put it up, But like besides The Walking Dead, obviously, seeing like a little commercial about it, I was like, okay, this is very interesting and unique. Caught it on Netflix, and I was like, oh.
So yeah, Into the Badlands. It's a post-apocalyptic world. I don't want to dive into it too much because there's a lot of lore that you have to start from beginning right to end. But man, cast is very well put together. Man, a lot of situations keep you coming back for more. Like you can't give up watching because each episode pulls you right back into to another one. So it's hard to not binge it. So that's a good one to throw on and watch. Give that one a go. Another pull of mine here. Let's see. You guys have already mentioned some of the good stuff I was gonna say. So I'm kind of on in the spotlight here. But some other old school ones there you can catch. Let's see, Flame of Recca, great anime. You can catch that on Crunchyroll.
I don't think I've heard of that. What's the genre?
Flame of Recca, it's you can classify it as shonen if you wanted to. It's got a mix of almost everything, right? It's about a Ninja Clan family, modern day. Kid's got a exceptional talent with using flame, fire and flame powers. Gets into a couple of situations for the family. The anime gets really interesting at a point where I think they get into a tournament. But the sad thing about the whole run is when it gets to the good part of that tournament, the anime got cut and we're left with a cliffhanger. So
the eternal cliffhanger.
Yeah, so you'd have to go right back to the manga if you wanted to continue.
Just like Firefly.
Just like Firefly, exactly that. Let's see. I don't think I can mention anything else other than the main ones, right? If you haven't done it and you're into an anime, and Jesus, if you're trying to introduce anybody else to it, if you haven't done the Dragon Ball run, go ahead and do it. You can find that on Funimation.
Not like you don't have the time.
To this day get bothered about not seeing all of Dragon Ball by these guys.
It's essential, man. You have to do the whole. You got to do the whole shebang, man. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are like one total thing because literally the beginning of Z is literally a 5-year gap from Dragon Ball, which it literally continues on. Fun fact about that whole show too is that Akira Toriyama started the whole thing with the characters kind of drawn with more of a rounder kind of shape in a sense.
Friend shaped.
Yeah. And as he dove into Z, he kind of twerked the animation to be more edged, more angular, to make it more, to kind of bring out the hard edge.
The fighty of it all.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fun to watch it develop because like his art wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst either, and it's kind of fun to see it evolve. When he developed Bird Studios, that's when the animation kind of changed over. He kind of gave it the art direction where he wanted it to look, and then those guys took over, and then they now look like how we've seen them for, I think it was mid-Frieza
since Time Lock began, yeah.
Yeah, mid-Frieza saga right on through is the new look. It was where it started. So, yeah, and those are my picks.
Yeah. So I think we're back.
All good choices.
I think we're back to Beastie Boy.
There you go.
Beastie Boy.
There you go.
All right, so the next topic then we'll be discussing will be video games. So from this section, I have more or less just quick mentions. I can in a sense just give quick descriptions of some. In a sense, what I put down was more or less either solo or team playing games because everyone obviously will have the chance to play with other friends.
Right on.
So one of them would be Overwatch. Which is a very team-based playing game, 6v6, work together, or you can also just play the little stuff on arcade and stuff if you don't want to be, very competitive, to that sense. Other one would be Smash Bros. Ultimate is the recent Smash Bros. Game.
Yeah.
Which you can obviously play online story or, just by yourself, just practice against the characters, and then, unlock characters as you go as well.
Now the fun in that game is having your friends over and beating the crap out of them. But now you can't do anything. Online's kind of an iffy thing. Do go through the story mode, and that will keep you hella busy for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. And with their ever expanding roster, did you know that we're currently at 75 characters?
Jesus, man, we're gonna end it. We're gonna end the whole roster with what, 81 is the whole count?
Something like that. Yeah.
Man, boasting the biggest roster ever.
The next time that we play. Me and my significant other have come up with different kinds of game modes that don't necessarily revolve around, taking percentage and getting flung off. So I can't wait to introduce you guys to different kind of game modes that I've created.
That's gonna
Ready
be
to
fun,
curb
right?
stomp me in a whole new way?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Challenge accepted. All right. Yeah, hit it up. Yeah, keep going.
Another one would be Jack in the Box.
Okay, yeah, that's fun stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's simple and easy. Just gotta connect over the internet, and then we can play on your phone for other people. These other games are more like solo types, or a little bit of team-based player games. But
Wait,
not
when you
team-based,
said
but
Jack in the Box, do you mean like the Jackbox Party Pack?
Jackbox. Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
the one.
Yes,
Okay.
I had the name wrong in here, so that was my bad.
No worries,
So-
just because I've also got that and I wanted to check.
Yeah, for sure.
So on that note, I want to make a quick mention that just by itself, Drawful the game is 12 cents on Switch right now.
12 cents.
You
I have 12
actually
cents.
can't get a better deal, but it is just the one game. So
Speaking of, I have some. Yeah, I found some
You've got
great
your
deals
house,
too. So
if
can't
you've
wait to
got
bring
your
that up.
house, you've got a handful of people in your house, nobody's going anywhere for a little bit. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
can sit down and draw on their phones and have a good time for a couple hours.
These are going to be some other ones, some quick mentions, but people that can enjoy from themselves with longest stories. Borderlands 3 or the whole Borderlands series itself is a very interesting game to play by yourself or with other people. DMC 5, again, or full series of the whole Devil May Cry series. Devil May Cry 5 is a more recent one and is the most interesting artistic and gameplay wise of the recent series. So it's done very well. Deus Ex series, so 1 and 2.
Yeah, Deus Ex was fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
That one, I ran into that like randomly, like with the first game.
Yeah.
And I got pulled into it like really randomly. Like, it was really interesting to go through the story and then continue it when they found the second one.
Decent amount of replay value on those.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I found that game in like a $5 bin when GameStop used to be successful. And
You mean when they cared about employees?
Oh.
No, not that far back. We're not talking about the early 2000s. I mean, a handful of years ago when nobody, was doing a whole bunch of weird things that I was aware of.
Right.
So I found it in a bin, and then I took it home and played it on my 360, and then it just grabbed me ever since. It's probably the best $5 game I've ever bought.
Last few ones are going to be on my list is going to be the Darkness series. It's only a part 1 and 2 series. Okay. Part 2 does kind of mention a possible third.
Is that Angry Shoulder Snakes, the game?
Angry Shoulder Snakes.
It is, in fact, Angry Shoulder Snakes.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Also the comic.
Yes, it is. Which I realized after playing the game at some point. So I was like, oh, this is really interesting.
So, fun fact on that one. I had a friend who was deep into the Darkness, and he used to like to debate with me who was more badass between Darkness and Spawn, and I had to put him in his place. I mean, like, come on, Spawn's the granddaddy of badassness, dude. Don't do that.
Last ones are going to be Mass Effect series. So 1, 2, and 3. So the main trilogy. And
just don't finish 3.
If you want to have a happy ending.
Either way, you can have a happy ending in your own terms. But geez.
You can have as many happy endings as you want in all those games.
That is very true.
This is also very true.
Yes. Mass Effect Andromeda, it is like circulated as very iffy in the series as well. Mm-hmm. But in my personal playthrough, I honestly still enjoyed it. The story was like still intriguing from what they did and what they took. But yeah, it does suck that it is somewhat of a different story, but it's still unique. And then last one will be any Telltale games really from the franchise or that brand of company, because most of the Telltale games, and I've like been a big fan just from the gameplays and then even having a chance to play myself, but each Telltale game that I've had a chance to play has been uniquely interesting or just like grab my attention of like, let me do another playthrough or let me try changing this way.
Yeah, it's pick your own adventure, right?
Exactly, yeah, and that's and that's the thing. Like when I got introduced into like a pick your own kind of like story, in a sense, like that's what made it like very interesting to see this could happen or this could happen here, but it'll affect something later on here, and it's really unique to see what kind of popular stories or unique TV series that they bring into that kind of video game aspect. And you're like, okay, this is the story, but you get to take the path and see what happens with it.
Yeah.
So
Telltale games are also great gateways into other pieces of media because they're almost always based on something. You enjoy their Walking Dead story, go check out the Walking Dead comics. You enjoy Wolf Among Us. Can't pull the name of that comic series, but again, that's a great graphic novel series. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Same thing they did one for Game of Thrones. They did it for Marvel with Guardians of the Galaxy. They've done a lot.
Even Batman as well, which I recently played.
I think the best part about those games is they're always on sale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Very true.
yeah.
So you're never paying a full $80 for these games. I think I saw Batman on the Switch for like $20, and it was on
Yeah.
sale price.
Yeah, I think for the full version of 1 and then 2, like by themselves, it was pretty decently priced. Because I got actually there was a point where it was put on Game Pass for Xbox. It
Which
was
is
like
$1.
free. Yeah, so it was like $1 free. So like, and we'll continue on with Table as well.
All right. So I'm actually basically just going to talk about games that I have been playing
Okay.
because that's been a big thing I've been doing in between studying.
You know what?
So
Good enough.
first off, Spider-Man. Everyone's
Best-
played Spider-Man, but at the
best
same
game.
time, this is the time to go back through it and like
Get all the
3-star all of those
costumes.
Taskmaster challenges.
Man.
Go and get every side quest. Do it
Yeah.
all because
Go
the
get your-
game is fantastic. Go get all
That's
the
right.
daily bugles that I didn't realize were a collectible until halfway
That's-
through the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good pull. That's one of my favorite games of all time. Best game I've played. Best Spider-Man game I've played in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Swinging everything in that, like game mechanics, that everything feels the way it should. It's perfect.
Fluid. It feels like you're playing a comic book. That's
Yeah.
what it
Mhm.
is.
Swinging has never felt nicer than this game.
It's wonderful.
felt better than Spider-Man 2, and
Yeah.
they even grabbed the mechanics from that too, which
Yeah.
was the unique part. So it's like, oh, we can just take from what we've seen before and develop on it, like improve on it as well. And it was-
Take the good and be better.
exactly.
Oh yeah, much. Be greater, as,
Yeah.
as the slogan would be.
So that's
But
my
yeah,
first
it's a
one.
good one.
Second off, Destiny 2, because hear me out. A lot of people are suffering right now because they're losing, structure to their day. They're losing track of time, and it's hard to
Yeah.
keep up with what's going on. If you're gonna pick up an MMO and get lost in it, now is the time. Having to do dailies, having to do weeklies, everything like that forces structure. It forces you to stay on top of things, even if it doesn't force you to have a human sleep schedule. But I've been having a blast with Destiny 2, and
Right on.
I don't like buying DLC as a rule, just because I
Yeah.
hate paying more for a game I've already bought. Shadowkeep, Forsaken, oh, they're beautiful. They're actually additions. They're actually worthwhile additions.
Mhm.
They expand on lore and story and gameplay. Bungie's not messing around with this game. It's beautiful and enjoyable and just a blast.
And as far as I'm aware, there's one secret in Destiny or Destiny 2. I can't remember which one it is. That has
Right.
still yet to be found. Go find it.
Oh, snap.
Look at
So
that.
it's a good time.
Something
I also
to be
had
done.
the Jackbox because
Sure.
play with your friends, please. Socialize.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
the $25 you're gonna spend, the amount of hours you're gonna get out of it, well worth the price.
Well
Mhm.
worth, yeah, it's well worth the fun. I've seen the fun factor behind it. It's a lot of trivia. It's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Talk to people, even if it's
Yeah.
just through snarky comments. Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
That's
Keep that
all we
social
do here
distancing.
anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Keep that
It's
social
all-
distancing while like socializing. It's
Yeah, that's
perfect.
right.
Next up, I have any Assassin's Creed because
Ooh.
Agreed.
just 100% those games, man. No one ever
Agreed.
has the time normally because
Now
there's
you
just
do.
so much to do. This
Yeah.
is the time. Go
Yeah.
through, collect all those stupid pages floating through the
That's
wind
right.
that you hate.
You
Grab all
haven't
those
met,
feathers.
the funny thing is
All those feathers.
you haven't met Jihad Beast because when I had what is it on the 360, what is it Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood,
Yes.
and Revelations.
Yeah, the
Growing up,
trilogy.
with that trilogy, I was like, anytime I was like done homework or was like free to do something, I just would
Time
like
to be Ezio.
I was Ezio, and I would just go through all those like mission side quests. Like I'd be like, "Okay, I'm gonna grab this real quick before I finish this mission, and then get it all done."
Oh,
And then-
man.
So I met Junior High Beastie Boy, and yo, this man speaks the truth. This man did not put it down.
I got on Assassin's Creed 2 back in the day, and I totally broke the law in that game and went to get that super armor that you're not supposed to get. You're supposed to get like throughout the game. I went to get
Yeah.
it one shot, got it all in one shot, and just went through the game completely like super powered. So
Mhm.
so I
That's the
so I
way
kinda,
to do it.
that's the way to do it. Like I kind of broke that game, but I had so much fun solving those puzzles to get those armor pieces and then just putting it all together, and it's like watching life bar go from like 4 to like 12 was beautiful. Yeah, man.
Every extra in those games is worth it.
It's worth it. Everything, just personalizing your outfit, colors, just the missions alone, even just getting the freedom to just roam around, jumping rooftop and climbing whatever bullshit you want to climb, right? Just for the sake of it.
Mhm.
And keep in mind that like their maps are incredibly accurate. Like the designers have put so much work into being realistic. So go visit Italy.
Yeah, exactly. They did as much as possible to give you the
can't
most
get on a plane to go there now.
as possible. Exactly.
It's
the same fun factor as Spider-Man. Again, same thing with Spider-Man. Go explore, Midtown New York. If you've never been there, it's a good time to get a good idea of what it looks like.
And my final one is the most recent God of War, because
God of Boy, yeah, got it.
God of Boy. That game is hard. It's a pain, but like a worthwhile pain.
It's only hard. You got to do your side missions to build yourself up, but when you get through that, you're good to go.
You underestimate how bad I am at games, but you're right. For normal people.
That game introduced me to the concept of like having a low enough difficulty that I really just kind of want to watch the movie that is this game. Like, it's so beautiful. They knew that going in and designed a way to play around it.
Boy.
Exactly.
No, the story is wonderful. Like genuine trip and a ride.
Great. That and that ending leaves you wanting to have DLC that will never happen, so you're kind of mad and waiting for your sequel.
You have to play with that PS5 controller.
So that's me, which next means red.
So I've got a few. Everybody strap in for a little bit. So my one that came out the most recent, let's do it that way, is Final Fantasy VII.
Remake.
Yes.
Or
go in retro is what you're telling me.
Or the original.
Okay, so
you may have seen the hype for the remake.
Yes, I like the way it looks. It's an adventure game, adventure RPG, so I get the idea of what they're.
And
trying
the demo is out for free, and I demo to all in. I think I'm gonna play through the demo a couple more times before I really decide if I'm spending the money it's a big endeavor, right? So I'm not too sure.
I'm
gonna increase the difficulty so that way when I play it, I can start in a real difficulty that gives me a lot of the battle structure, that gives me really crisp battle structure that they're trying to push on me. But also, in the same token, if you don't feel that you want to keep paying for this game, the original is out on every single platform. It's out on PC.
I was about to say.
It's out on Xbox. It's out on PlayStation. It's out on the Switch. You can take Final Fantasy VII to out to the park and play it for a little while.
I was gonna say one of those who I don't know aesthetic. I like old things, so like old RPGs. Final Fantasy VII, as polygonal as it looks, I enjoy looking at that. So because memories, right? The nostalgia is there. Totally. So the new one looks, it's polished, it's nice. It looks like Advent Children. It looks like a movie, right? It looks great. It's also a style of game I could play as well. Price tag, I'm not too sure if I'm gonna ever do it. So
but this is why I give both options, right? The other kind of twofer that I have is Persona 5 and Persona 5R. Persona 5 is like the latest entry in the Shin Megami Tensei side series. The way I was introduced to the main character is through Smash Bros. And I think that's such a great selling point that not only did I pay for Joker in Super Smash Bros., but that opened up his whole world to me. So that introduced An and some of the other main characters whose name I'm not pulling right now. But you start the game as your alias is Joker.
Okay.
That is not your, that's not your name. You get to name him whoever you want. Right. It is a turn-based RPG taking our main character Joker through the hearts of his enemies. So our first mission, to give you an example, is going through the heart and mind of this teacher that is just beating on kids with dodgeballs. So bad they go home and back and forth and the parents don't say anything, with black eyes and bruises, and he's touched girls inappropriately.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. And
do you get to kill these people?
You don't get to kill them. You get to go into their headspace where they think they're the king and the ruler of all, and go take them down internally. And when you eventually leave, you actually change their mindset. So it's not so much about, it's more talking and fighting than it is just fighting.
Just very hands-on therapy.
A really good way to start this game is if you go on the PSN right now, you search Persona 5. If you buy the base game, you have a complete game. You don't need to buy R. It just came out. It is still for full price, so fair warning. But Persona 5, when I bought it, was $15. I've probably logged 65 hours in this game, well worth the price.
Right on.
My next one is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX. Like the last remake on this list, you need to take the colorful art style of looking like a toy box.
Right.
You take the gameplay of like, you know, a little bit of turn-based, but it's more like a Fire Emblem.
Pseudo turn-based.
Pseudo turn-based. Okay.
Yeah. And you take the Pokemon that you're familiar with, you throw in some new ones like a Mega Evolution and forms in that way, and you have just a super wholesome experience that I haven't been able to put down for a very long time. The only reason I put it
Pokemon
down
Mystery
is
Dungeon can and will make you cry.
it did make me cry just a little bit. I got to the end of a mission and I just got, it filled me with the feels. My last one on my list is Okami HD.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And this is a beautiful love letter to all things Japanese mythology, from the legend of Yamato no Orochi to the legendary warrior Susanoo, which, if you're more familiar with Digimon Frontier, where the humans, you know, evolve with the armor instead of having Digimon partners, their final form is a reference to Susanoo, as in it's literally Susanomon.
Okay.
It is dressed up in like this amazing trench coat of beautiful watercolors.
Yes, I've seen the game in action. It's a wonderful looking game. It's so fluid in what it does.
When I can, I will show you the art book. And
Yeah,
it is
if you please,
everything.
Oh man,
and it is available on every platform.
Yeah, it is. It's and you know what's great about it? It's an oldie but goodie, man. It hasn't been let go since it's been published.
Right, it came out on the Wii and the PS.
Yeah, and it keeps coming back for more. It's one of those games I wish they would continue on.
They did continue, so it has a sequel. It's on the DS.
Okay.
It's not as good. It's called Okami Den. It's a little bit harder to find, which is why it's not on my list. But I would love for them to play more with just Amaterasu.
Yeah, I want them to go back a whole lot. It's one of those titles I wish. That was from who? That was from Capcom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, it's
so
one
much
of those,
from Capcom. Amaterasu made it into Marvel vs. Capcom.
That's the thing. Like they have so many IPs that I wish they would go back to, like Onimusha. Like they forgot about that, right? And I wish they would go back to that. That was a great thing going on too. And I feel unfulfilled. And they kind of did go back, and they kind of left me with you know, something that was nothing, and I'm kind of mad about it.
But hey, now it's your turn to talk about your list.
Oh, my turn. All right. And this is still the gaming list, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we've been into some deep discussions here. I'll keep it nice and brief. You guys brought up some good titles already. You got Spider-Man, you got the Assassin's Creed. I've been playing AC Odyssey for the last little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
I like large
games. A good choice.
Yeah, it's one of those I had to put down because I didn't have the time, but hey, guess what? So
is that the one with the female protagonist?
Yes, exactly. I have made the male protagonist because I hear you can swing both ways, and so I'm trying to see how I can manipulate that in my story here. I've been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons a whole lot. I've been living in that world because, like Lady said, keep a routine. I've been harvesting fruit and digging things and giving back to the community. I'm a model citizen on my little island of Squirtle.
Squirtle Island. I love it so much.
Adorable.
Thank you. Other than that, I have been playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. New concept, right? Open world for Dragon Ball. Very different. Runs very fluid. I'm getting used to the fighting system for it. It's a bit different than I've normally accustomed to. It's not hard. It's just a bit more. It's a little bit more in depth than you would find on, like, say, like Xenoverse or like Tenkaichi Budokai, right? Like it's not the same.
The last one I played was Tenkaichi Budokai 3.
Yeah, see, it doesn't play the same way. It's very different. It's a bit simplified, but not simplified, right? There's a lot of building. It's kind of got a bit of RPG element into it, right? You got a skill level and build up on your XP and all that stuff. Other than that, I've been playing Xenoverse as well because I'm a Dragon Ball boy, so I love it. Shockingly, the wife was like, I'm bored, and she wanted to get back into gaming, so she was up to getting Diablo 3, which put a big old smile on my face. So we're back to doing that, and I'm happy with dungeon crawling. We've reached out to a friend from the States who gave us his username. So we did a community dungeon crawl last night, and it was pretty fun. What else is there? I mean, courtesy of you, Red, I've also got back into Ultimate Alliance 3. I've bombed through 1 and 2 with like simple ease. They used to be available on PS Network. They're gone now. It's such a shame. I still have the first one on my hard drive. Ultimate Alliance 3, really fun still. Totally different and the same at the same time. I've been enjoying the new features. I have to buy the DLC to get the full experience, my friend. There are some things in there that I want to do, but Nintendo says you have to pay for it, which I'm like, okay, I guess I'll have to pay for it.
I guess I'll open my wallet one more time.
More time, right? I guess so. So, some brief mentions in that. I've got some little other games I've been playing here and there. The wife and I are super happy with Party Hard. That's a fun game. It's a co-op game. It's top down, old school style. You play a serial killer and you kill people. It's a fun little game. Do check it out. It's on I believe almost all platforms. I think it's on PS Network and Switch.
Yeah, and it's an indie game, which is really nice to see on people's lists.
Oh yeah, it's a fun game, fun romp. Another game in that same style, kinda. Hotline Miami. I got the collection.
And that soundtrack is just
soundtrack is
bangs
bumping.
every single note.
Yeah. Fun fact too.
That'll just leave in a good mood.
Oh yeah, you can find the whole soundtrack too on Spotify for that matter. It's totally there. Another fun fact: there's a independent producer part of that soundtrack, and he's got a fun album as well. So do dive into that. Do some Google searching, search it all out. Get on the networks, download that game. It's hard. It's not frustratingly hard though. It's just hard. Hotline Miami can. You won't succeed every time, but it's not one of those games where you smash your controller on the floor and get frustrated. It's one of those where it's just like, well, okay, well, it's not working out today. I'm gonna try that tomorrow. Yeah, those are my fun little games.
All right. So then that moves us to the next topic, which will be comics. For myself, I do not have a proper or set list, anything like that. So essentially, we'll go to table and just kind of start with you to start the next topic with that.
Okay, well, I just went with general reading list type things. And we're going to start off with, as a message to all other university students right now who are living their worst lives with this remote learning. Mm-hmm. Please, for the love of God, read all of those textbooks you paid a lot of money for and have never picked up. Is again, when you should be doing that, because God knows your professors can't save you.
Oh, hey, more education can never hurt.
Well, next up, I've got Impaler, which is a 2008 series by Top Cow. I've got 5 issues of it, and it's a horror suspensey type comic featuring vampires and nonsense by William Harms, the art by Scott Newman and Matt Timpson, and it's definitely worth a read if you're into that kind of thing. Very gory, so be aware. Definitely a lot of fun.
Top Cow is really good at producing just the most level of fucked up shit I've ever seen in my whole life.
But cool fucked up. So up next then, where we might actually get into discussion-y about, is Scott Peterson, Kelly Puckett's Batgirl, because I love Cassandra Cain with all of my heart.
She's a very good Batgirl.
She is a wonderful Batgirl.
Yep.
Specifically, I recommend Volume 1, Silent Night, because it's a heck of an introduction. It's full of energy and vibrance with the art style, and it's just generally kick-ass and really a compelling read. Then I've got the 2011 Huntress miniseries by Paul Levitt, drawn by Marcus Toe.
Right on.
Oh, an excellent way to read a Huntress story without having to worry too much about surrounding lore.
In the head with it?
Exactly. It gives you what you need to know and then tells you a story. What more can you ask for? Finally, the biggest rec I have is, if you haven't before this point, give a go reading every single tie-in issue to Blackest Night. There's 87 of them. It's kind of a pain.
That'll keep you busy.
Exactly. There's a 10th anniversary omnibus you can pick up off Amazon if you're willing to drop over $100 on it. Or you can pick up books and little trades individually and get there. There's plenty of reading lists available online that give you both the order and every relevant story.
Right on.
Holy moly, what a pull.
It's worth reading all of if you have the chance.
it was a huge event that had to happen, right? So there's a lot going into it, and Jeff Johns, that maniac, had a lot of stuff built up over the
A
years.
lot of hands and a lot of pots.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was a big read. That's a huge read, big pull. That will keep someone busy throughout the rest of this goddamn year.
Exactly.
Truly.
Had to make up for just having several miniseries.
Yeah.
And college textbooks. So my route with this is, I know some of our listeners might not be, so hard boiled in comic stuff that like we are,
Right.
but so to kind of equate for that, I decided to only pick series that are either done completely or are one and dones.
Okay.
So the first one that I started with was Marvel's 1602 by Neil Gaiman.
Very good stuff.
Ooh.
It is if you know anything about like American Gods or any of his other work,
Yep.
this follows that to a T and masters it. You have interesting names on Peter Parker, you've got interesting names on Daredevil, like you've got Doom in this just such in a way. You have probably my favorite costume on Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And you get Uatu the Watcher. And any story with him is just tickles me pink.
It was one of those out of left field kind of ideas, and it worked. Right. Just worked. And good read. Yeah, man, good stuff. Good read.
Neil Gaiman's a hell of an author, and most stuff by him is worth checking out.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Like his entire library is bar none the best to get you through this.
Yeah.
My next one is by Tom King and Mitch Gerrits. It's Mr. Miracle.
Yes.
See, I know a good story when I hear one.
It is so good. It won an Eisner Award for Best Writer and Best Artist.
Man, good.
It is a deep dive into Jack Kirby's fourth world, how that actually relates to a human being. If you fought in war so long for hundreds of years, what that would do to your psyche.
Who are you anymore other than the war?
That's it. You hit one
and
for that's a home run, man.
When you now have a growing family and need to put yourself back together again.
Yeah. That's a good home run you hit right there, man.
That's a gorgeous pick.
Yeah, I love Kirby. I love the New Gods altogether. I've always been into that stuff. So just wow, just hearing that put a good old smile on my face, man. I love that.
So I'm gonna go read that later.
You guys can borrow it anytime you want.
Yeah, man, for sure.
My next book is unfortunately, the only independent comic on my list. Okay. That's Science, The Elements of Dark Energy by Ashley Victoria Robinson and Jason Inman. It is an all-ages book about Tamsin. She's in a super genius school. Her father just passed away, but she eventually finds out that her dad uploaded a backup of his consciousness into the school, and now his previous partner gets to rule the school, and we see how life is different now for her, but still in the Prometheus Institute.
Okay.
That sounds banging.
And it's by independent creators, so it is. I helped fund this book on Kickstarter, and I was not disappointed. Even my full legal name is in the back of my version of the book.
Right on. Right on.
My next pick is Green Lantern Earth 1, Volume 1. There is no Volume 2 as of recording, so it is it is a take on Hal Jordan's experience on finding the Green Lantern that takes the aliens, like the Alien movie, and cracks it like an egg over the Green Lantern concept and just swims in it.
Okay.
You do not have a bright and vibrant color spectrum. You do not have Guardians plural. Okay. What you have is one man with a ring and a battery that's dying and no way to charge it.
That sounds like an awesome kind of tension you don't get in a lot of Green Lantern stuff.
It kept me like on the edge of my seat the whole time. And finally, on my reading list is Silver Surfer Black by Donny Cates.
Yes.
This is a love letter to Stan Lee. God bless this man.
Yeah. God bless him.
Doesn't it say as much in like a foreword?
No, it's not a foreword. It is one of the back pages before all the art. I have it collected in this like treasury edition, this oversized edition, and it features all the art and the different covers and even the end of book with his tribute to Stanley. So the story goes that Donny Cates met Stanley at a convention one time,
Right
and
on.
as most of us interacted with Stan the Man, he told him that he really liked Silver Surfer, and that there was no way to repay this man with how much he loved his character. And Stan, the story goes that Stan looked at him and goes, "You can try."
Oh,
Oh.
And from then, Donny Cates wrote this book within a couple weeks.
wow.
The art in this book, it is so hard to describe. It is pulls from everywhere. It really, really looks like the soul of Jack Kirby
Yeah, I've seen
from
some.
the afterlife.
Yeah, I see some art
and,
on it.
and
It looks.
just
Yeah,
touched
yeah,
the pen, and it was
yeah,
gifted by the gods. You
yeah. It
also
looks
get the
very much
introduction
like
of
it.
Null, the god of the symbiotes. If I haven't sold you on book already, a line within this book is "No hope will be born for me for 1,000,000,000 years."
Well, that's a hammer and a half.
Yeah, that's unsettling, right?
Chino, I think it's your turn.
All right, so it comes down to me now. Let's see. First one I can bring up. Well, it's a trilogy, honestly, and it'll keep you busy for a couple of pages here and there. Most of my picks are probably gonna be some DC picks, to be honest with you. As much as I love Marvel, some of some of their stories don't hit me as hard as a DC story does.
Good
Sometimes
DC is great.
yeah, and
But
I'm a little bit of a I'm a little bit of a biased boy, so
And also, you've been around the block a few times, so you definitely know a good story from a bad one.
from a bad one, I've seen. I mean, don't get me wrong, both houses have had some questionable
Stinkers.
storylines, right? But for the most part, I don't know. Like for DC hasn't upset me in the last couple of years. Marvel's been coming back strong. They hurt me with my X-Men, but now they're the House of X, Powers of X. I'm super happy with the stuff going on now, so good with that. But my trilogy pick is a Batman pick, but of course, it all starts off with Batman Year One.
Ooh, I
yes.
think I know where this is going, but do
Oh,
tell.
so Batman Year One, right? This is where Christopher Nolan gets most of his inspiration for Batman Begins. It's one of those stories where if it's one of those ones that hit me hard. If I ever feel like I don't know my direction in life, I read that book and it kind of gets me back on track. Year One is a great pull. Art style is very gritty, very not what you're expecting. Very kind of like it has like a touch of an old school feel, but with a new school kind of setting. And it bleeds off into Bruce Wayne taking down the average everyday mob family. Destroys the whole syndicate of crime, and then it bleeds over into the following, which would be part two in my head, which would be the Long Halloween, which is
Another good pull.
right, which is
Did
the
you know that
yeah
for
Oh, yeah.
Batman Begins,
yeah
they released a small thing that contained the, let's call it the Reader's Digest version
okay
of Year One and Long Halloween in one little
yes
book?
in one little book. And
Mm.
fun fact, I bought that DVD when that released, and I have that lost in a box somewhere out there, but it's there. Yeah, Long Halloween. That's the birth of the psychos, man. They come out because there's no control in the streets anymore. They're running rampant, and one after the other keeps coming up. Good read. There's a giant murder mystery happening behind it. Give that one a go, and then that one falls right in through to Batman Dark Victory, which is technically Batman Year Two, which brings in Dick Grayson as Robin for the very first time, and a longer
Robin Year
read.
One, also a good read.
Yep, exactly. Great trilogy, man. Put those reads together. Long Halloween is long. Dark Victory is just probably even a bit longer, but it's a really good read. I have most of it here, I believe. You can find it on Comixology, for that matter. We talked Crisis before. If you haven't read Crisis on Infinite Earths,
The fun part about all that Batman stuff is
yep,
you can probably get in touch with your local comic book shop, and if
yep,
you would like to own the physical issues, you can probably go on people's website
yep.
and go through their entire like catalog and just pick out the books, and they will do curbside delivery for you
Delivery.
of all these
Yeah,
books.
yeah. As long as they're yeah, I believe Happy Harbor does it. No, yeah, they
It
do.
sure does.
Yeah, they do. And yeah, if you're local here where we are, Edmonton, if you got a shop that does it for you wherever you are, do give that as an option. Do give that a go. Those books are a really good read. Same thing. You can get like a whole good bunch of them, like Watchmen, V for Vendetta. You can get them all on Comixology as well. Issues are a bit more pricey now that they're more rarer. So get them online. What else is there?
Neil Gaiman's The Sandman.
There's
Sandman
Sandman, yeah.
Beautiful.
If you're for a psychedelic ride, for sure.
I owned one issue of Sandman. It cost me, regular resale of a comic book is about $3. It cost me about $5.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just this isolated issue, number 11, was just a beautiful story. I can't undo it from my brain. My brain cannot exist without that piece in it now.
They're beautiful and they're touching. So they're definitely worth checking out.
Very much so. Same thing. If you haven't done Crisis, give Crisis a go. Give the original read a go. It was a clever way of one house label shrinking and getting everything into one little pocket to make it a little bit easier for them to publish books.
That's how you do canon retcons, guys.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it, Marvel. That's how you do it. You don't give Peter Parker the option to make a deal with the devil to reset time.
Red, why do you personally attack me?
I enjoy personally attacking people.
Other than that, there's a whole lot of Avengers reads, like Judgment Day. That's another good one. There's a whole bunch. Give them a shot. For actual literature, if you haven't ever done it, you can get them. They're easy to get, especially online. Do yourself a favor and do the actual Lord of the Rings. It's a good read.
I have done that.
Fellowship is hard.
Fellowship is hard, but the movies don't do any of the books justice.
No, they don't.
So
they're beautiful stories in their own right, but they're different.
I have done
they're
books,
different. Yes.
1 or 2 times. I, for the life of me, cannot sit through the second Lord of the Rings movie.
You can't? I love Two Towers.
Two Towers is great.
I fall asleep. I can't do it.
Really?
Fall asleep in Two Towers.
Two Towers, really?
Do I even know you?
Oh,
it'll be noon. I'll have woken up from a nap. I'll be put it on my big screen. I'll plug in all my stuff, and within 40 minutes, I'm out.
Wow.
Dude.
But yet you can watch Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh shit.
I've seen
just a little skeptical.
Infinity War more times than I'm willing to count.
Yeah, so you can watch any Lord of the Rings, okay? Because that's totally fine. You won't suffer. You can suffice through it.
No, give Lord of the Rings a read. Give that a read. Give The Hobbit a read as well. Give that all a go. If you really want to give yourself something to occupy the time, they're big reads. They're not simple. Yeah, give that a shot. Any other suggestions out there? Any last minute stuff you guys want to get out there? I have a few. I forgot to mention one anime that might be up ladies' alley. Called Yoshio and Tora. It's on Crunchyroll as well. It deals with a lot with a demon and demon realm and a young
Always
boy,
fun.
right? And a young boy who's caught in kind of that kind of world. It bleeds over into the real world. Let's just say that when it comes down to the gore aspects of it, they don't really hold back. So if you want to see some fucked shit, that's a show to give a good look at.
Very nice.
There's one.
I'm seeing entrails.
Right, there's one particular episode where these floating demon heads are like loose. You can't really, unless you. The way the demons work is unless you're kind of like either possessed or kind of like enriched with like kind of enriched with like like demon powered. You're not gonna be able to see the demons. So the average everyday person can't see them, but like Yoshio, he can because he's kind of gifted. So the floating heads, the fuck shit about this is they float around with their mouth just ajar, just wide open, and they move at like supersonic speeds, and they just literally carve through people and leave people's like bodies just like as if someone took a bite out of them like a cookie. Like you just see the shape of like the leftovers just there, and it's some crazy shit because like it goes in like split-second frames, and it's some crazy stuff. So give that one a go.
I will have to. That is my type of thing.
Yeah, it's some crazy shit. Sometimes it's not so up there, but when they really want to throw the gore in there, it gets really creative. So yeah, give that one a watch.
If we're going into books, I would drop Terry Pratchett's Discworld series.
Okay.
It's not finished per se, but he is dead, so there won't be any more. So you can read everything. Right. It's an incredible world, and it's like the early books you can definitely tell were his first books, but it's comedy, it's fantasy, it's grounding those kind of things in real principles and very real people.
Right on. See, there's another fun one. I used to read a book called Rising Stars, written by J. Michael Straczynski, and that
Creator of
followed.
Babylon 5.
Yeah, exactly, and that was a series of a couple of kids who were near I believe, a meteor crash site that kind of left them kind of not infected, but like kind of like they were, they got boosted with cosmic rays, like the Fantastic Four. They were kind of like, within the vicinity of getting kind of boosted by the power. So each of them,
They got juiced.
Yeah, they got juiced, and each of them have their own subset of powers. And like you see, some of them trying to live normal lives. Some of them took on the superhero persona, and it was a kind of a much different twist on the idea. Very much of very much of what you see in The Boys nowadays, right? It's kind of that kind of feel.
Speaking of The Boys, like if you've not seen the Amazon show, the actual live action take on The Boys,
yeah,
it is well worth the watch.
It is well
not
worth
to read anymore.
And in Rising Stars is pretty much in that frame. I wish they would have done a show of that too, because that comic was really well done. It struggled with the idea of like, if you have all that power, or do you have the right to enforce world peace? They touch on that, right? So really good stuff on that.
Beastie Boy, we haven't heard from you in a while. What do you got?
I don't really have much for, I guess, suggestions. I guess we're
kind
watching,
of the any extras right now.
I guess for any extras on like, what will be a good one? Oh, actually, any Studio Ghibli series, movies. Sorry, there we go. Because I currently am watching the collection that I have, that I borrowed from a friend, and it's been good so far. Honestly, like I've not been disappointed by one movie at all, if anything.
I believe you can get them on Funimation as well. I think they have them on their.
And there is a handful on at least the Canadian version of Netflix. There's a few, but none of the there's. I don't think there's My Neighbor Totoro, but I think Ponyo's on there.
Yeah,
I love Ponyo.
I actually need a hug for your soul.
Ponyo is actually like one that I did see that out of the Studio Ghibli movies when it came out, like I think the years back, like in theaters.
Yeah.
And then rewatching it, because I guess just part of my brain just like missed parts of it. So rewatching it now, I saw it and I was like, oh, this is what was really happening. And I was like, oh, like it's so like artistically, it's obviously going to be beautiful, but like with the story combined and what was actually happening, like it's intriguing to see kind of the development of the relationship with the characters, and how they were lighting the two different sides of the characters, and we're kind of putting it in all to one aspect of like, this is what the meaning of the movie is, and it's just really well done. Each Studio Ghibli movie, when they have like a certain meaning or like some sort of like, hey, this is the aspect of what we're going for. Right. This is what we're showing you from this kind of display of this fantasy world we're giving you, or realistic kind of even type of world too, but through an animation.
A few more I have. And if you're into Sword and Sandal and you haven't watched it, I believe it's still on Netflix. Watch Spartacus, man. Forget Game of Thrones for the time being. Just watch Spartacus. That is like one of these shows of all time. Less mythical, more historical in a sense, but take some liberties with it, but still a good one.
Putting the historical in historical fantasy, if you will.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that brings us to the end of an issue for this week.
All right.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can catch us on YouTube with this series uploaded on Wednesdays, and on listening a podcast form. We have, I believe, Spotify and some other any other podcast locations. We'll be posting on our socials, so we'll have it on our Instagram, which will be Nerd Crusade, or Twitter, Crusade Nerd. Otherwise, thank you for listening.